I'm convinced that sports betting is running through the straight male community worse than crack did black people.
When you work in digital rights, one of the things you're always told is that if you want to understand what's happening in Western tech, then a good way to predict what's going to happen is to look at countries like India or continents like Africa. Because for the most part, any tech that is introduced at a mass scale and targeting, the average person in a Western country, oftentimes it has been tested and deployed in the African continent or in India, because these are spaces with loose regulations but also large populations to test stuff out on. And so when I hear Americans talking about stuff like Klarna, Afterpay, and gambling and digital gambling, these are things that have been tested out in African countries. And when you read stories from countries like Kenya and Nigeria, you hear the craziest stories about how digital lending is ruining the population, how the interest rates are super high, how far digital lenders will come for their money. You also hear how gambling is, taking a whole generation away. But there's something happening right now in the US that has not happened anywhere else, and it's really scary. Maybe scary is alarming, but yeah, it is scary if you really think about it. So there's a new trend called prediction trading, where you can bet your money on real world events. And so you have sites like Kalshi and Poly Markets where you can go on, find a question of the day. It could literally be a question for what will be the highest temperature today in California. Put your money in, and by the end of the day, you make your money back. And because it's so easy, like there's very low barrier to entry, and there's only two outcomes: you either win or lose. And if you lose, you can still come back again tomorrow and make your money. It is super addictive. And also there's another angle I'm thinking of, is that sports betting is associated often with unemployed young men. This type of gambling, prediction trading, is definitely going to be targeted at people who consider themselves smart. People consider themselves, I can take a calculated guess at a question that's yes or no. I can predict real world events. These are not the target audience for sports betting. You're targeting intellectuals, you're targeting both men and women, because some of the questions are like, okay, who will win the Oscars tonight, who will win the Grammys tonight? It's so easy. But this is ushering in an insane era, because the margins are crazy. These companies are making so much money off these bets, considering that 50% of people will lose their money. The other people will cash out, will definitely come back again to try it again. But it's really scary about the potential of this kind of gambling. And I don't know, I wonder what other people are thinking about this. Have you heard of Kalshi and Poly Market? What are your opinions?